It is the eve of the draft, Paul. It is the eve. We are so close to one of the most highly anticipated drafts. I don't want to know about Flyers history, but pretty close. Pretty close. Yes, I'm your host, Jack Smith. This is my analytical and draft expert, Paul Pollock. The two of us are going to go 2 rounds on the eve of the draft. That'll include all of the Flyers' 6, not 7, 6 picks in the first 50. Might as well just do the second round. We're going to be using the mock draft builder from FC Hockey. That'll look a lot nicer and a lot clearer as soon as I send all this out to all you beautiful people. Get everybody going here. So, yeah. So you're going to see our faces for only a second, and then you're going to see the wonderful, the beautiful. Might as well present it right now. Here we go. FC Mock Draft Builder. How's that looking? Yeah, look at and our faces are there. How about that?
Technology.
Already, they're chiming in. Anybody but remember, anybody but Mark. That's what my note says. Anybody but. It'll definitely be something.
I feel like fans have been turning the other way. People are coming around on them.
I feel like this always happens. Like, it's like, you know what? Because they're so getting used to the fact that it just might happen, right, that they're just accepting it. And look, I don't hate the guy. I swear I don't. It has nothing to do with that. It's more about getting talent at where you're drafting. And I'm not going to get too into a Brady Martin podcast. All right. We're just going to go. All right. So, Paul, I will let you go first. We'll just keep going. And what I want to do is I want to make this bigger here. So I'm going to take us off the screen a bit. We're just going to draft what we think the team will ultimately do and talk about it along the way. Who doesn't want one last mock draft before tomorrow's highly anticipated draft?
A lot of chatter. I'm hoping if we get just a hint of what everyone's saying it's going to be, it should be a pretty fun night. Sounds like a lot of players are up for grabs, possible picks up for grabs. People are expecting movement. I feel like they say it every year, so, keeping the expectations a little tempered, but I'm excited for it. It feels like the right ingredients are there to make something happen this year.
And you're absolutely right. They say that every year, and they're almost always right. And you know what, though? It's not going to happen until it does. And if there was ever a year that you think it could happen based on where the teams finished and how they jumped up in the draft. Yes, I'm talking about Utah. Even the Islanders, what they're being discussed of possibly doing, the Flyers and all the ammunition they have. Teams with there's 2 teams in the first round that have multiple back-to-back picks in Pittsburgh and Montreal. Like, that's rare within itself.
And then just 3 teams with 3 first-round picks in general. The Flyers and Nashville. 2 teams.
I was going to say, who the hell's the third?
Yeah. So, that's a lot of ammunition there too. And you're hearing a lot of weird things too. It sounds like Frondell, the Sharks, is now like the expectation.
Shocking, but I have heard that. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think there are some things about this draft that maybe make it more likely than other years of the trades happening. But like you said, this stuff does get said every year, so we'll see. But with the draft maybe not being thought of as strong. Sounds like teams want players instead of picks this year. I don't know. I'm crossing my fingers. There's already been a Peterka, Zegras trade. I feel like even that is, not the norm for the NHL. So maybe it'll actually happen.
Absolutely. This is the year to expect the unexpected, and the Flyers should be in the thick of it. So without further ado, let's get started. Paul, you are on the clock. You are the New York Islanders. What are you doing?
Yeah, this one's pretty straightforward. I think they're going to try to trade up to get Higgins somewhere in the top 10 as well. I don't know if they'll be successful with that, but at 1, it's pretty cut and dry. It's going to be Matthew Schaefer, the number 1 D man. Lock down the D-core there.
Easy peasy. Can't complain. It's to nobody's surprise. And me at number 2 now with the San Jose Sharks. I have been seeing that Frondell stuff. I can't buy into it. I just can't do it. I want is Frondell's
think
guy.
It's a smoke show?
It has to be. It has to be. What Misa did, what we've heard about Misa, I don't believe it. They're going Michael Misa.
I just listened to Cam Robinson and Chris Peters podcast, and I don't know. They seem pretty convinced that it's going to happen.
You know what though? At the same time, like we saw Beckett Seneca go awfully high last year, and sometimes these guys are right. You know, I don't believe it. I just think Misa was way too good, and Chicago's probably like, well, we'll see what you do, Paul. You're on the clock. You're the Chicago Blackhawks. Misa's not there.
Yeah, if Misa is there, I think they're running up to the board, and I'm I'm not going to be too pleased that they're going to have Bedard, Misa, Nazar, and Levshunov, just a bunch of young guys there. But either way, they're getting a good player here. I think it sounds like they've honed in on Frondell as well if he's there. So I'm going to go with Frondell. I think he gives them some size, some physicality, a nice center or winger to play with a couple of undersized, skilled guys they have there.
And there you have it. And it does seem like now that Frondell is basically going between picks 2 and 3, which is wild because before I thought he was a strong option for the Flyers at 6. And I guess after the combine really is where I saw the 2 and the 3. I had seen him mocked to Chicago a couple of times, but never the Sharks. And now it just seems like he's going to go easily top 2 or 3, which is, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how it affects the rest of the draft. As far as the Flyers getting who I want in Higgins, I don't know how that's going to work out, but without further ado, allow me to move on to the Utah Mammoth. The Mammoth making the first pick here. A lot of speculation here. This is kind of tough, but I'm going to go with what I've been hearing because there just seem to be that team. They added Peterka now. They seem like they're going to go for the playoffs next year. They're going to add a playoff-type player. I think it's a mistake, but I do hope it happens. And they're going to go Brady Martin. So there you go. I'm believing a little bit of what I'm hearing out there. But that's been going a lot longer than Frondell, number 2. So I hope they do that because somebody that I want should fall to me, our team at 6. And it doesn't seem like we'll be in it kind of takes Martin away from us because there's no world where he drops enough where we can trade up and get him. I truly don't believe that'll happen. And, so just don't even put it in, take it out of our hands if they don't make a trade. And I do think that is somebody they can take. And we've seen stranger things happen. And that's what I'm going with. The Utah Mammoth are taking the Brady Martin. And with that, you're on the clock with the Nashville Predators.
Yeah, I mean, San Jose can definitely throw a wrench in the expectations with Frondell, but it does feel like 4 is kind of where the first one is like, all right, what are they going to do here? Because you're hearing that Brady Martin smoke, but you also, I don't know, will they just go with the safer pick of a Desnoyers or Martone or something? I think that's kind of where it starts, and it leaves several good options for Nashville if they do take Martin. I think Nashville under Trotz has been a high upside team. I think this is kind of the first spot where Higgins becomes a possibility. I'll probably have him ranked 3rd, but I don't think he'll be in play until 5 here. I do think Higgins has a chance, but I think they're going to hone in on Martone. I think I've heard they like him. He's also one of the higher upside guys at this point, and they kind of, they can go anywhere with this. They could use a center or a winger. Maybe they see some Philip Forsberg in them. I think Martone's the pick.
Ooh, Porter Martone, I like it. So this is I don't want to say a nightmare scenario because it's not, but here I am on the clock at 5, and it's funny with Martone there now too. And I was getting Zegras. I was like, I could see them going Martone. I want to go Higgins here, but I wouldn't surprise me if the Flyers had Desnoyers higher. And or
Jake O'Brien.
Yeah, right. Even Jake O'Brien. I mean,
I think Jake O'Brien is going to be interesting. Cam Robinson was saying he could see him go as high as 3.
Jesus, this is wild.
But he could also fall into Pittsburgh's laps. So
that's wild. That tells me he's going to go right in the 7, 8, 9 range, which he probably should. For me, it's between Higgins and Desnoyers. I'm going to do what I think the team will do, and this would be an easy Desnoyers pick for me. But now that they've had all these meetings with Higgins, I'm kind of like, at least they're interested. I'm taking Higgins. However, I do think the Flyers would take Desnoyers, and that's what I'm going to have them do. Just I'm going
that'll
with
be
what
interesting. That'll cause some chaos on the timeline.
I think he may be their top choice.
I don't totally hate it. Like, I like Desnoyers a lot, but that will definitely cause some dissenting opinions.
And I will be one of those dissenters for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer
Higgins
Higgins.
down. Oh, if it's me, I'm taking Higgins. I don't think they take. I don't think they do it. I think they go Denoye. If other
I
players
think
are
they like
available,
him. I'm kind of sold. I think the Flyers like Higgins a lot.
they're having all these secret meetings last second, which is great. But
Yeah.
I also think in reality, Denoye won't be there, and I think they know that. So
It's
there you go.
possible, but you look at what we've done. Brady Martin, I guess, is the spot. I do kind of think Utah takes Denoye if they keep the pick. But if they go Martin, which there's been a lot of smoke, I think there's a really realistic chance that he ends up being available to us. So it'll be interesting.
It could be Higgins versus Denoye or Higgins versus Martin. Either way, there's a world where I see the Flyers walking away with not Higgins.
And I do think they would consider O'Brien there as well.
Yeah, they definitely took him out to dinner. I think they spoke to Martone. He had some last minute meetings. I'm like that they're crossing all their T's and dotting all their I's. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So with that, Paul, you're on the
clock.
So
yeah, Boston's a spot that if Brady Martin doesn't go at 4, I think he may not make it past Boston. But with him gone, I was just talking about Jake O'Brien, and I'm going to take O'Brien here. I think he's probably the most creative player in the draft. High IQ. He's got some pace concerns. Got to get his weight up a bit, but a lot of upside on Jake O'Brien. I'd be happy with him at 6 as well. I think Boston takes him here with the way the board's going.
Yeah, that's tough because that puts me on the clock with Seattle. I've had one player going to Seattle for a while, but if the board were to fall this way, and they got some centers out there, but it's almost like, do you turn a blind eye to this? And I think if you're Seattle, the way it's gone over there, they could probably use some change. Take the best player available. This is where the fall stops. It stops right here. And Higgins got 8th. Could you imagine?
I do think it's possible, believe it or not. It's one of those things I think we've talked about on other episodes. It's I think he may be like the second choice for everybody. You come down to even Nashville. Nashville's like Martone or Higgins. They go with Martone. Flyers go Denoye or Higgins. Boston goes O'Brien or Higgins. And they like him. It's just he's just happens to fall second on the board. And like keeps happening, and all of a sudden you got a little bit of a slide there.
Exactly.
So Buffalo, I mean, who knows what Buffalo's thinking right now? That it seems like they moved Peterka for some size. It sounds like Byram may be moved as well. I think they're probably listening. Who knows on who else? So they could go any which direction here. It's interesting. FC Hockey has Colin Potter at number 9. I'm high on him, but that's not quite his consensus.
If you need me to scroll a little bit or refer to your own rankings,
I got my own here.
Good, because these are a little.
I'm gonna go with Radim Merca here. They just got. Why can't I think of his name? But in the Peterka trade, a nice right shot, 25-year-old big defenseman.
Kessling.
And he's a good player. But I also think from what you heard on some of the offers they may have turned down, they obviously want to get a little bigger. I think we know they have a ton of good left-hand shot defensemen. Maybe they shore up the right side there. You get Kesselring and now Merca to add to it, another big, smooth skating defenseman. They should have a pretty good back end. I'm sure they'll find a way to screw it up, but on paper it looks good.
Absolutely. Ducks, I'm on the clock with the Ducks. The Ducks can go a plethora of different directions here. They are Ziegler-less, which makes me consider center, but there's some talent on the board and less risk on the board. My philosophy is always best player available. I'm going to go with Eklund, Victor Eklund here. I think I had him going there in another mock. I consider McQueen here. I even consider some defensive players, but I think he's just here at 10. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's a little bit of a gift, and I think you just want to get as much talent as you can. They had Zegers playing wing anyway, so you might as well pick up one hell of a winger to play with. The
natural winger.
All the talent, exactly. Natural winger, left winger at that, a little bit more rare. Play with all the offensive talent they already have. You can't lose with that pick, if you ask me.
I agree. He'll be interesting because it sounds like nobody dislikes him. He may just fall victim to not being a center or defenseman.
I think you're right.
So it feels like wherever he goes, he'll probably be pretty good value. So I get Pittsburgh, back-to-back picks here. I would love to give them someone not too good. But honestly, there's a lot of intriguing options. I like Lyndon Lakovic and Jackson Smith a lot personally. From what I've heard, I've heard Kashawn Aitchison, Jackson Smith, and McQueen tied to them. A little bit Eklund. I think I'm going to go Roger McQueen here. Take the big center. It'll be interesting to see because I imagine teams are scared by the injury a bit. Personally, I don't think his upside is quite as high as a lot of people say either, but a lot of people do think it is high. I think once he gets outside this top 10, though, teams that like him are going to start thinking it's pretty good value. And it's a little bit of a risky pick for Pittsburgh, who does not have a good farm system, to take a guy with an injury concern. But with back-to-back picks, I feel they can take the risk a little bit more.
And if you didn't take him, I probably was going to for that reason alone. They get in the first pick that they didn't think they were going to get it just took a while to get there. You can take a little bit more risk. And it's funny because I get to take the other guy that I've seen them in more mocks ever since they got this second first-round pick. It has been McQueen, and it has been Aitchison. And I really could see this playing out. I actually really like that for Pittsburgh, which sucks. Obviously, there's a big factor that things could obviously not work out, especially with McQueen. But
I'm personally pretty okay with it.
Well, I know you don't like McQueen at all. Where are you on Aitchison? I don't have your rankings in front of me.
I think he'll be an NHLer and be solid, but I think he's a bit overrated.
Okay.
I probably have him closer to the 20s, mid-20s.
Mid-20s. Okay, that tells me exactly how you feel about it. Fair enough. And look, that makes me feel better because I've been seeing a lot of that. I do like Aitchison, but I don't have him top 10 or anything. So, but this could be
two big guys, though.
Yeah. I mean, he seems like he'd be a pretty good flyer. I don't know. Sometimes we fall into that crap a little too much, so who knows?
If he fell to closer to my rankings and was there around 22, I imagine the Flyers will like him a lot. I don't have inside knowledge on that. He just feels like they want to get bigger and meaner on defense. I imagine they would be pretty excited about him at that point. And honestly, at that point, I wouldn't mind too much. But yeah, I probably will have Merca, Smith, probably Cam Reed, maybe one or two other guys over him defensively. But if he hits, it's going to be a pretty fun player.
Well, let me ask you this: you're on the clock at the Detroit Red Wings. Are you going defense?
I'm not. I don't think so. Detroit's interesting. I feel like they always pick a good player, but not always the most exciting or best player. The guy I'm going to pick could arguably be the best player at this point, but he also just feels like a fit in that he's a two-way player. He's got some skill, all-around game. So Carter Bear is my pick. I think he's scored like 44 goals, I want to say. Has a solid playmaking game. He's got a nonstop motor, two-way player. He had the Achilles injury, but I don't think people are too worried about it. With Detroit, there's a guy that I don't know where he's ranked on FC here, Eric Nielsen. He may be low. He'll probably be in my top 32, which is maybe a little bit against the grain. I don't think Detroit will take him at 14, but every time I see him, I just think he's a Detroit player. So that's something I'm going to watch during the draft. He just feels like a Detroit player. If they take if there's a surprise pick that's off the board, I wouldn't be surprised if that's it.
That would be something. And they've been known to make some surprises. I mean, wasn't it Sider that was like drafted 6th overall, and I think he was ranked in the early teens or something. So, hey, we'll see. Definitely something to keep an eye out for. But yeah, Carter Bear, and it's funny when Jim did these and it was just a Flyers pick, Carter Bear was like there at 22, and I'm like, there's no way. And it almost made that part of we were interacting with the chat, and we're all like in agreement. Like, yeah, obviously we take Carter Bear here. And it's like, I would like to have more discussion. It's like
it was too easy.
Yeah, exactly. He ain't going there. This is more of the range he's going.
Yeah, though you never know. Like
that's true.
Yeah,
that's
you have
true.
the same thing as the Higgins thing. Somebody gets scared of the injury, and you're like, I kind of just prefer Lakovic a little bit over him, or Braden Coots, and all of a sudden he's there at 22.
So
he's not the biggest guy. The skills maybe not elite, so you never know. He's a winger. He could fall back.
We'll have the Higgins issue. He's the number 2, and all of a sudden he's available at like 8. In his
Yeah,
case,
exactly.
22. I'm all for it. Please.
I mean, at 22, there's going to be guys that we like, I'm sure. And some of it will be because they're projected there, but some of it will be, how did Cole Resney fall? How did Jackson Smith fall? You never somebody's going to fall, most likely. And
correct me if I'm wrong, Paul. Did you compare like some of Carter Bear's game to Brady Martin's?
I did, yes. Yeah, and he's definitely not as good a hitter, but he plays pretty vicious still. And his motor is as good as Brady Martin's. I think he's got more skill than Brady Martin. I like better than Brady Martin personally, but I think the pure power of Martin is tough to match. But Carter Bear still very willingly throws his weight around and can hit people.
Yeah. So if you really want Brady Martin, the Flyers take Denoyer or Higgins or oh my God, excuse me, Martone. This is a guy that maybe they can trade up for and make you feel a whole lot better about that, because I'll be definitely keeping my eye on Carter Bear for sure.
And there's a couple guys, we might get into it at 22 or 31, but there's a couple other power forwards in this class that, maybe not on Brady Martin or Carter Bear's level, but they can fill a third line power forward role, and maybe pop up to second if everything hits. But there's some bigger guys and some physical guys that I do think they can fill that need without reaching for it at 6.
There you go. And that's what they should honestly do. There's no need to reach at 6, if you ask me. Recency bias does some funny things to fans and teams. And I'm not saying it's wrong, and I know things are a copycat league, but sometimes by the time you copy and get there, things have changed. So don't go all out is all I'm saying.
Yeah. You look at Florida with the Sam Bennett comparisons being widespread. Sam Bennett's like the 4th best forward on that team.
Right. And I remember where he was drafted and how things went in Calgary. I think he was like the 4th overall pick.
And Sam Bennett was a much better OHL player offensively than Brady Martin.
Right, exactly. And I don't remember what draft it was. Maybe it was a better draft, but still, things did not work out in Calgary. It took him going to Florida and having other guys at the top of the lineup. If we can get Brady Martin and we have our top line guys, exactly. all for it. But that's not where we're at. And it doesn't mean I hate the guy. I see all the time, all this hate. It's not hate like that. It's not like, if you draft him, he's going to suck. I'm not saying that. You're just kind of like, okay, well, I hope things work out with Zegras or Briere's got one.
Right. You're like, who's our Barkov? Who's our Reinhardt?
That's all I'm saying. That's it. So without further ado, I'm back on the clock with the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I am going to take Jackson Smith here. I think they could use some defense. I think by the time Jackson Smith is up and running, Werenski might be trending downwards a little bit. So I just definitely, he's a guy I could see them being interested in for sure. And then we're going to come in here. Vancouver. Paul, you're on the clock for the Vancouver Canucks. What a weird state there.
Yeah, I could go any which way with Vancouver. But I think I'm going to go with the forward route. I think they would like forward with some upside. Some questions with future of JT Miller, maybe Pedersen. So I guess I'll stick with center. And I've been seeing a lot of Braden Coots. It makes me not want to do it, but I'm going to go with Braden Coots here. Good two-way forward. Very involved, fun player to root for and watch.
Seems like a guy that has been mocked to them quite a few times. So there's smoke, maybe there's some fire. And you know what? Speaking of that, with the first of 2 picks for Montreal, a guy that I absolutely see them taking. I'm going to keep that train going, and that's Justin Carbonet.
Feels too obvious, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. They have 2 picks. They can take a swing. I like the player, it just makes too much sense. Yeah, that was too easy for me. Finger was already on the trigger there. So The second of 2 picks for you, Paul.
It also feels too easy to pick Cam Reed here, but I feel like they'll go forward and defenseman. Maybe they end up liking a Logan Hensler or Blake Fiddler here. I don't know. I think I'm going to take Cam Reed though. High end mobility, good solid 2-way defenseman. I do think it'll be a D-man here, and I've heard they like him, so I'll stick with Cam Reed. He was at the top.
Oh, I go right by him?
Yeah.
Oh, he's third. Thank God. I got a little nervous.
I do think it'll be – there's a lot of D-men at around this juncture that will have varying opinions between teams. I think some people will be higher on Blake Fiddler. Some people will be higher on Hensler. You may get like a Limatov or one of those big guys in Romback or Seneca. But Cam Reed feels the safest here, and I always like my D-man to be able to skate. He's a high-end mover.
Absolutely, yeah. That makes plenty of sense. I do have them pretty much going wing and defense, so that makes sense. And I'm on the clock now. The Calgary Flames. I think he's lasted long enough. I'm going to go. I think they just look at the board and they go, we're just going to take the best player available, and I do believe that is Lyndon Lakovic. I don't think you can go wrong with adding a player of that nature. I don't think Joel Farabee is the answer out there. So I think they can add a left winger for sure and just be happy with the pick. And all right. So, Paul, now you're on the clock. St. Louis Blues.
St. Louis. I'll go back to the defense. I'm going to take Blake Fiddler here. I think he's a little more raw than some of those other defensemen mentioned, but he also has some pretty good upside. Good size, good skater. Needs to improve his offensive game a bit, but I think St. Louis sees the upside and tries to make him a Colton Parayko a little bit.
Not bad at all. And I'm back on the clock with the Columbus Blue Jackets. So, this is interesting. I think they like their centers. I just had them draft a defenseman. So some guys I like. There's some other fast risers. I'm going to go a little off the board here. Not too bad. This guy has been rising lately. He's a pure left winger. I'm going to go with Bill Zonin.
I love it. I like Bill Zonin a lot. He's a guy that, if we're looking at the consensus boards and you're looking after the first round, who went higher than expected, I could see Bill Zonin being one of those guys.
And there you have it. Yeah, absolutely. So he just seems to keep rising, so it makes too much sense. And I could see a team like Columbus being the one to take him. So with that, you're back on the clock with the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, I've heard Ottawa wants high IQ players. And there was just a comment about this guy, but I'm sorry he won't be there for the Flyers. I'm taking Cole Rezny. I think he's got one of the highest IQs in the draft. He's a little undersized, but there's just so much to like about his game. He could easily end up being a top 10 player at the end when you redraft this class in a few years. I love betting on high IQ guys, and he's a great thinker.
Seems to be something the Flyers have been searching for as well, which is very painful. I really hope that there's like a short list of guys I hope they trade up for. This is definitely one of them. So it's a shame to get sniped like this. Now, if you remember,
I thought you were about to take him with Columbus when you were saying they like centers. I was like, I gotta find a new pick here.
I think they're okay with their centers. Otherwise, that was my pick. Maybe I was hoping in the back of my mind he'd make it to Philly. We did this last time. I took a player that nobody liked, which I thought I saw them doing. However, there's a player available now that even though we did take a center in this draft for them in Denoyer, so they can go a little off board. Defense honestly makes a little more sense. Maybe Logan Hensler. However, I got to go Ben Kendall here. If he's available, I know he's a winger.
Sign me up.
I know he's a winger.
I'm not sold he's a winger.
Good. Then that's even better. But it's the first round. Best player available is still a thing. You're in the low 20s here. So I think this would be a gift. If he were here, they can't make any trades work. The draft board goes this way, and he's still available at 22. Just be happy with the pick and move on. You got how many other picks to address defense and whatever the hell else you want. So I just couldn't turn it down.
I love it.
Beautiful. And okay, so then we will come to the clock. You're on the clock for Nashville. Boom.
So I took Martone with Nashville, right? Is that the only pick they've had so far? Yeah, they got another one.
Yes.
So I think I was gonna take a D-man here, but I think with both Hensler and Boumedienne still available, maybe they can wait till 26 there, and we'll swing with Colin Potter here. They took a winger with 5. Is he? He should be at the top. He was ranked like 9, I think.
Make sure I didn't accidentally.
Yeah, he might.
Did he go already?
I don't think we took him.
I thought you took somebody earlier. Who was it?
No, I don't see him on that board there. Coots.
Well, apparently
I disappear.
Yeah.
Can you search for him?
Yeah.
There
9. Why did I change? I wonder if I hit something.
Maybe you sorted some other way.
Oh God, I hope not.
I don't know. But yeah, I think maybe they wait on D-man. So, well, it'll be your pick, not mine. But I'm assuming defenseman at 26. But Colin Potter, maybe the best skater in the draft. Pretty good upside there. Couple scouts I know have him in the top 10. And he's top 10 on this site. So pretty good value here. He's got some things to work on, but playing in the NCAA, I'd love him here. I'd like him at 22, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a great pick. I'd be all for it. Now I'm on the clock. The Los Angeles Kings. Ooh, nothing really jumps out at me what they need, and it wouldn't surprise me if they're one of the teams that moved their pick for something. Let's see. I guess they could go center, right? You can always have a center. Let's go. Yeah, because they got some defense. Let's go. I don't want to go Nesbitt. I don't. So I'm going to go with a different center. I'm going to go with a little bit of a.
Nesbitt's probably going to go in the first round.
He is, but I don't know if I have him go now. Maybe if he's there. All right, we'll go Nesbitt. You know what? You've talked me into it. I was thinking Horcroft, but you're right. Nesbitt's going to go in the first round. Let's keep it realistic here. I'm trying to go with what I think the teams are doing, not what I want to do. At least I'm doing my best. So with that, yes, they will take Jack Nesbitt, big boy Nesbitt. So
good name, right?
That's great, Nesbitt. Never mind. I would make a really bad joke that very few people would get. So we're just going to move on. Paul's on the clock for the Chicago Blackhawks.
So we got Frondell earlier. Added some skill and size. I'm gonna stick with that theme. I'm going. He's at the bottom of the screen there. Vaclav Nestrasil. I think he just fits what Colorado wants to do with this draft. Get bigger and stronger around their young, undersized guys. I also think he's a very toolsy dude with a lot of potential that can contribute offensively down the road too. A little bit of a project, but plays with a mean streak, and he's still got some skills with him.
Hey, get your guy. And now we're starting to scroll down a little bit. I like that. We're getting our guys here. So I'm on the clock for Nashville. I'm not going to hold this one up here. They've been linked to the guy. I know, Paul, you and Josh, this is not your top goalie by any stretch, but I'm going to go with what I read. And I got Nashville addressing the goalie position, and Ravensburgen is off the board, putting you back on the clock with the Washington Capitals.
This may be crazy, but I think we can go back-to-back goalies.
Ooh.
I think there's a chance that, it's interesting. You hear different things about this draft of like, some people say it's a good goalie draft. Some people say it's not the best goalie draft. I have heard that there are 3 goalies now in consideration in the first round. And, I think maybe with the first one being taken, teams start to think, oh, I better get my guy.
The run.
So Semyon Frolov is going to be the number 2 goalie taken.
Oh, that stinks. That's definitely somebody I want the Flyers to get. I got to give you guys credit for that, you and Josh. But I've been doing a lot more reading on him, and I'm like, man, he'd be really nice. A really nice ad in a second.
Yeah, he and the other Russian, Andreyanov, seem to be pretty neck and neck on rankings. Those are along with Ravensburgen, those are the 3 that I've heard have a chance in the first round. People like Ivan Kovic too, but it sounds like those three are mostly at the top for teams. But it's interesting because Andreyanov has better numbers in the NHL this year, but there are people that seem to believe in Frolov's potential a little higher. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
I like it. That's interesting. All right. Well, hey, that puts me on the clock with the Winnipeg Jets. The Jonathan Taves Winnipeg Jets. And I'm thinking defense here, and I think Logan Hensler has been on the board for too long. And yeah, I think that's pretty good value for them at that point, especially if you're the best player available variety. So seems like a pretty decent one there, at least value wise.
Yeah.
And with that, you're on the clock. Carolina Hurricanes.
Carolina is pretty guaranteed to take someone I really like. So I'll go with Alexander Zhuravsky here. I think he's going to either go late first or early second. He seems to be rising up boards. Arguably best hands in the draft. A little bit of a project still, but pretty high upside on him. Exciting player.
I like that a lot. This is interesting. I'm San Jose here. So far, we've had them just take Misa, I believe. I like defense, but the defensive players available. Let me see here. I definitely like him, but I have a feeling this is going to be their pick at defense. And I want you to tell me your honest to God truth based on who is left on the board and who I'm about to pick. How do you think of that? What do you think of that?
Who'd you pick there? Oh, Bruce. I can't say his name. Brustowitz.
Me either. I was hoping you'd say it.
Yeah, I say it different every time. But yeah, I don't hate it. I think the Sharks will almost definitely go defenseman. You could go any which way here with Sasha Boumedienne, some of the bigger guys that I was mentioning earlier, Kerben Limatov. Yeah, I think you can definitely make a case for Henry as well.
Yeah, okay. I mean, and I believe that he's Sam Dickinson's partner in juniors as well, which that shouldn't be the reason you take a guy, but I know that they have a relationship with the team already. They kind of like that stuff. And there's in my opinion, there's better prospects still on the board, but I still can't complain. So with that, you're on the clock, Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one. I was excited to make a Flyers pick, but now I feel like I'm going to make a pick that I don't actually love. I see someone wants Will Horkoff. I just don't. I mean, they do have 2 more picks coming up, so like you could go forward again. Just the leaning defense after going with 2 forwards to start. And Sasha Boumedienne is probably consensus-wise the best, but I think they are going to want a big guy. So, whether that's Carter Amico, Simon Wang, Jacob Romback, or this guy, I'm going to take Max Senica. It's spelled with a PSEN.
I'm going to have to type this in.
Yeah.
Say again, how it's spelled?
It's a PSEN. There he is.
Oh, that's very nice.
So pretty good skater. He's a big dude. I think he's like 6'5". Has still got some filling out to do, but moves pretty well. People think there's a little untapped potential offensively there as well. Not huge, but just a little more than he's shown. I get the feeling they're going to want a big defenseman. And like I said, some of those names, I wouldn't be surprised if it's any of those names I just mentioned. That's just the one I'm picking here.
Very nice. And, we're going to see these kind of picks a lot. You're going to see the board, the best available, and some of those guys, they're going to hang around, especially when you get to the end of the first, early second, and throughout the second. And teams are going to start taking these guys like this. And this is why I like this. It's a little more realistic. Yeah. We're not just taking the top 3 guys at the top. Shelton, good to see you in the chat. I feel like it's been a while since you've been around. So good to have you back.
No, to address what he was saying there, it's a good point. I think it could make teams hesitant. But I don't know. I think goalies are such a long project anyway, normally. Like, New York waited how many years for Shesterkin? 5 or 6 years, and that worked out pretty well. They develop goalies pretty well in Russia, and I think you're probably not getting a goalie until year 3 or 4 anyway to contribute in the NHL. So I don't think it'll have a huge factor, but I'm sure if if it's a neck and neck with somebody, maybe it makes teams sway another way.
There you go. There you have it. And I am on the board here with the Calgary Flames. And I do think, based on who's available, I think I'm going to go center here. I think this is where William Horcroft goes. So I will have them close out the first round, Calgary Flames, William Horcroft. And that will put you back on the clock with the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, with San Jose, I'm going to take Sasha Boumedienne. I think they'll stick with defense, keep bolstering that after adding Misa or Frondell, whoever they add, to a pretty good young forward group.
So in this draft, we had Misa and the other defensemen. And, yeah, well, not bad at all. Yeah, for sure. Especially because they're not getting –
they'll be pretty happy with getting both defensemen.
That is right. And here's a name I've actually seen, if he makes it to the second round, somewhat connected to Chicago. And who did we have them taken earlier? I cannot remember. I can't scroll that far. I think we went – had to be a center, right? No, they got no, that's not right. We went – we go Frondell. Did you have Chicago take Frondell?
I did, yes. Yeah.
Okay, that changes my pick then. I'm going to have them go Malcolm Spence here. I think he's a guy who could go in the first round. Probably he may very well may. So it's good value. We've already had them take a center. I don't think you can go wrong with this pick.
Yeah, I think that's fair. With Nashville, I'm going to take the guy I was talking about earlier, in Eric Nielsen. Consensus-wise, he's all over the place, but I think he's a very projectable, good, solid, both ways to center with a little untapped upside. I love a smart Swedish player, so I think it'll be a solid pick.
Oh, there you go. Get your guy. So for the Flyers so far, we've had them take Denoyer, and then we had them go winger and defenseman, right? We've covered our bases.
Yeah, we got pretty much everything.
All right. Well, you know what that means, right?
Take whoever you want.
And
you taking a goalie?
I am. And what was his name again?
Andreyanov.
Andreyanov. That's it. It's Patoy. Right here. Boom.
I think it's Peter. Piotr.
That is a painful way to say Peter. My Christ. I know it's not what I said. I was only kidding, but Jesus. Lyndon, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm not ignoring you. I swear. I swear I'm not. But they got the Russian connection. I had them
an American on the team.
Look, I do too. I can pronounce those names very easily. But they got the Russian connection. They got the pipeline. They got the relationships. They got the scouts. It makes too much sense that they're gonna look into some Russian players here. And why not add another goalie? You already had we had two go off the board already. So you might as well. And with that, the Capitals are on the clock.
With the Caps, let's go with Milton Gastrin. Another projectable two-way center, probably more of a third-line center, but some good physicality. Add to the forward group they got there.
There you go. Not bad, especially at this time, this point of the draft. And on the clock with Seattle, I believe we had Seattle actually wind up with Higgins. Excuse me. So I'm definitely not going to take a center. Oh, who jumps out at me here? There are some nice players. You know what? I hate to ask this on stream, but do you know what their goaltending pipeline looks like?
Who are we on?
Seattle.
They have Nicholas Coco, who's an okay prospect. They don't have like a stud, but they.
Enough said. Right there, baby. Jack Ivan Kovic is the pick. Let's go.
You just want to take him.
I do. But I mean, I have since Seattle, especially if you ask Dave Haxall, show me a good goalie, I'll show you a good team. I'm like, yeah, you're not my coach anymore, Jesus. So yeah, so there is something to that, I guess. So let's cover all our bases here. Not bad to throw a goaltender in the pipeline. So it is the second round. So there you go. That's my pick. Buffalo on the clock.
I hate to lean too much into the size for Buffalo, just from from one trade, but I also think he's a decent pick here. And this is a guy that I think the Flyers could consider if in what I was talking about earlier and adding power forward. Shane Van Sage is who I'm going to take here. Michigan State guy. He's maybe has some underrated offensive skills, but he's just a prototypical power forward. He bullies people. He's already NHL size. I wouldn't hate him for the Flyers pick. I don't think the upside is that big, but I think he's a very projectable player who will be very physical and play playoff style minutes.
Beautiful. I like it. I considered him a couple times, a couple picks earlier. I'm back on the clock with the Flyers. Is this updated? Yes.
And you got all the Flyers picks.
I think you got one. You got 31.
I wasted mine with a big defenseman.
I liked it though, but I have to apologize to Lyndon. I don't think he's going to be there at 48. I was all ready to take Jack Murtaugh for him, and then I realized there's one more player I think they should take, and that is our Russian connection, Rabenkin. I mean, you got to use one of your second rounders on him, right? Like, come on, we have to, right?
I don't know that he goes in the second round.
Wow,
from what I'm hearing,
you're taking him off completely. I
mean, it only takes one team to believe in him, and I think he still ended up in the 40s in Bob McKenzie's. That means something. He's got the most realistic list. He talks to the actual team scouts, so it's definitely possible. But it does feel like people expect him to fall
slide.
pretty.
Well,
good.
I see. That's where I'm like, where is the slide? Like he was like late first, and now it's like he's definitely in the second. So this is still considered early second, I guess, getting close to mid. But I'm kind of like, you know what? They only got one pick after this. Maybe that's the time they do that. But it's a lot of teams in between. I don't know. At the end of the day with these teams, if their talent is there, we'll take a swing. Now, I think a lot of teams
with the Red Army too.
Yeah, exactly. And
Andreyanov, Rabkin.
Well, that's my next point. And I've heard this before. We talked about this before. Some teams won't even draft Russians. They don't have the connection. True. So, and we have a great connection. So you might as well. And maybe you feel like you can wait and get them later, but sometimes I'm like, you know what? The talent is there. And I heard his interviews were terrible. So I'll give you that.
Yes.
I'll give you that. But it's like, at what point do you pull the trigger? Well, maybe they do it here.
It sounds like they like Jarofsky too, who I took before 31. But it sounds like, that the Flyers are another team into the Russians.
Let's go.
And Lyndon's mentioned Prokhorov. That's another one.
I love it. We'll get him next. Fuck it. Oops. Dropped an F-bomb.
Trade up.
Over that. I dropped an F-bomb over that. Like
Prokhorov will be interesting too. I could see him going in the first round. But I have a spreadsheet with compiling a lot of different rankings, and his are all over the place. You got a couple in the top 32, and then you got some like around 100. So it'll be interesting.
Is that not this whole draft though, top to bottom?
There's a lot of it. A lot of them, yeah. He's one of the more volatile ones. But there's, he's got the big size. Production he scored a lot of goals. He just had like 0 assists. He was a Cy Young candidate. But I don't know. People, you either really believe in him that he's a big, decent skating, skilled winger that's gonna, translate very well, or it's like the production, I don't really see him being more than a fourth liner. So it's one way or the other. I feel like there's no middle. People don't have a middle ground with him too much.
Yeah, very fair. All right. What was it? Who was that again? I'm sorry.
That was Prokhorov, but we haven't taken him yet.
Okay, just that's kind of what I was making sure of.
Yeah.
All right. So you're on the clock. Montreal.
So the Canadians. Who have we taken for them? We had Carbonell and Cameron Reed. Is that right?
I think you took a defenseman. Yeah.
All right. So they already got a high volatile skill guy. So who's on my list? Maybe. Let's take Prokhorov here. I actually think he makes sense. We're talking about him. Carbonell's a decent sized guy, plays with some power, but he is a little boom or bust. I think Prokhorov will play in the NHL. It's just what will that upside be? I think Montreal would like to add a little size and meanness. He's a big hitter. So, yeah, I think it fits here.
There you go. There you go. Linden 49 with a win. Feel bad.
Got to throw him a bone, you know.
Yeah, he's been fairly pulling for it, you know. So, all right, who's still available? Who am I? You know what? I think this is. I can see the Islanders going. Interesting. Let's go Cameron Schmidt. I think this is a good spot for him to be taking a winger here. Yeah, if I'm the Islanders, I'm pretty satisfied with that pick. If they even have it come to draft time.
Big swing.
Now you're on the clock with the New York Rangers.
Yeah, with the Rangers, let's go with let's go with Will Moore, U.S. center. He's another guy who's a little bit all over the place. He came in with a high pedigree, expected to be a top 15-ish pick. Didn't have an amazing season, but I think he's still a pretty versatile player with a little bit of upside. So I like him here.
Excellent. And that puts me on the clock with the Detroit Red Wings, and this is where I have Jack Murtaugh going. Just remind me real quick, who did we have them take earlier?
That was Carter Bear was one. Did they have another pick?
Ooh, see, I'm trying to go back and check, but it cuts me off.
I don't think they had another first-round pick, so.
Uh-oh, I just lost everything. Okay.
Probably just Carter Bear.
I think it would have been Carter Bear, so that's center, but he can that kind of, well, at this point of the draft, you probably want to go best player available.
He's center or winger.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the pick. You're in the second round here. Jack Murtaugh's off the board. I think it's good value because this guy could find his way into the end of the first round. So there you have it. And that puts you on the board with the stupid Ducks.
So the Ducks, who do we have the Ducks take? I know you just went through that scrolling process.
But I'm pretty sure it was Eklund.
Okay, because I do feel like we should go D here. They have a couple of skilled defensemen, but I think they still want to upgrade there. I mean, who doesn't want to keep upgrading the defense? Let's go Kerbin Limatov here. Some good upside in Limatov. Big Russian defenseman, good mobility. He's also pretty wide range of opinions, but I think at this point it's pretty good value on him.
Excellent. What do I want to do here? Okay, so far we had Utah take Brady Martin, and I think that was their only pick, right?
Yeah. And sounds like it could be on the clock.
Touche. All right, with that, I like this guy here, Eyes Wozniak. I think it's a good time for him to go take a night. Well, wait a minute. They did just acquire
Peterka,
a winger, and Peterka. Yeah. So does that change? I'm still in the you want to get the best player available.
Says he's a left winger here. I think he's more of a right winger, if that makes any difference. But
I'm in a maybe just take the best player available kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or at least you think. And I just think it's another guy who can find his way into the back end of the first round. So I think here is pretty good. So why not? I like it. I think he's been on the board too long. Let's go with it. And you are on the clock with the Vancouver Canucks.
With Vancouver, I'm gonna go Mason West.
There he is. So you just sniped right
were you gonna take him? I actually think he will be an interesting option for the Flyers if he makes it around here, which he could. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the first round just because he does have some pretty big upside. But at the same time, I think teams are rightfully concerned about him ultimately choosing football. So I could see him falling for that reason. You don't want to spend a top 40 pick on a guy who ends up not playing the sport.
I agree.
It'll be interesting, but I do think at this point the value could be worth it. There's some pretty good upside there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I couldn't agree more. And it's tough because I do like the player, but that is like a big swing and a miss. And I don't want it for the Flyers now. I don't want to go too many Russians because if we go to war or something and nobody comes over, that's like your whole second round. So I'm going to take a guy.
Who are you considering?
I was just looking at Russians. Honestly, I was looking at where they went to, school and whatnot. I was like, what Russian do I want? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take a favorite of mine. We need as many centers as we can. Give me Riker Lee.
I love it. I almost took him with Vancouver just because the skill at this point is too hard to pass up on.
If you'd have done that, I probably would have taken Mason West. So that's hilarious.
Ah, there you go. Lockstep.
There you have it. So, all right. And that puts you on the clock with the Montreal Canadiens, who I believe.
So this is their fourth pick. We've got Carbonneau.
So
Cameron
2 wingers
Reed,
and a defenseman.
Vanzaghi.
Shit. Vanzaghi, too. Yeah. Jeez. Pretty much.
Right. Yeah, let's just taking a look at my list here. Let's go with another Linden special, the Horkoff. I feel like they need a center in the mix. Keep adding size to the mix there. NHL pedigree. I feel like Montreal's sucker for NHL pedigree guys. It remains to be seen what kind of upside he has. He did a little better at Michigan than he did at the U.S. program. I think he's probably more of a bottom 6 guy. But
who did you say?
Will Horkoff.
Is he still available?
I thought so. Is he not?
I thought somebody took him. I thought I might have.
We took Will Moore.
Well, I typed him in and he did not show up. I think he was taken. Oh yeah, 32-2.
Oh, okay. All right. Then we'll go Cole McKinney, another U.S. guy, a center. I feel like we need a center. McKinney's he was kind of the glue for the U.S. program this year. That it wasn't a great year for that program, but he's a solid 2-way player. Similar projection as Horkoff. I think he's more of a third liner. Not as physical as Horkoff, but solid 2-way guy.
Excellent. Devils are on the clock. This is their first pick of the entire draft so far.
Yeah, I think it is.
Look, I haven't seen them linked to too many guys, but there is one guy I have seen them linked to, and that's who I'm just going to take here. And that is going to be, as soon as I find him, Luca Romano at center. So can't tell you too much about the guy, but he has been linked to the Devils.
He's got some upside. He's a little raw, but yeah, I don't hate that pick for them.
Take it. And that will put you back on the clock with the Boston Bruins.
For Boston, I'm going to take Jacob Romback. Mentioned him a couple times in terms of the big defenseman. Feels like a Boston fit going for the big D man. Decent mobility. This draft has a surprising amount of big defensemen who can move pretty well. And we haven't taken Simon Wang yet. He'll be interesting too. Just because I don't know how long teams will
really
fall with the skating and size package. I don't love him just because I don't think there's like any offense there, but the skating's pretty sweet for a guy that big. So I do think he'll go sometime in the second round here. I just don't know exactly where.
Fair enough. Let me get some information here. I want to make sure when I take a center for this team, which I will be, that he's not like if I'd have taken for the Wild Bennett here, that would have been hysterical based on
5'7" guy.
Exactly. I'm kind of looking for the tallest guy. No, I'm going to go with Charlie Serrato here, 6 foot.
Oh, love it. Enough. Penn State
center. Yeah. So he's a guy I have my eye on. Because you sold him to me, but I'm starting to read more of the second round guys. Squeeze it in right before the draft.
I try to take some pride in being unbiased on opinions and all. I'll admit when I talk about Charlie Serrato, I got a little bias.
Hey, I mean, even the scouts who get paid to do this for a living are the same way, so I can't blame you too much. And with that, the Sharks are back on the clock. I guess you can take whoever the hell you want. I feel like we've positions.
I feel like at this point the Sharks, like you said, can take whoever they want. I think they're kind of in a position to take a swing with how strong their pool is at this point. So I'm going to go LJ Mooney. Very undersized. Yeah, I could see him being taken here just because I think the skill and skating are so good, but I also could see him being a 4th round pick just because he's 5'7". He gets, he's not the best at fighting through physical contact. Chance of him actually making an impact in the NHL are probably slimish, but like I said, I think the Sharks are in a unique position here that they can take a swing like this, and he's incredibly skilled.
5'6", 146 pounds. Holy cow!
I think it has to be a team like in a position like the Sharks are in to take him this early. Otherwise, that size is just not going to get him drafted till at least mid-third, I would assume.
Yeah. Is he
Same
the first?
With Banak, and Cameron Smith's tiny too, but he's also pretty electric.
Is he the first of the smaller guys to?
No, I think Schmidt. Was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you're right.
Banak's
okay.
the last one. They're all very skilled. I mean, obviously, if they're ranked in the top 50 on 5'7", but it's the chances are slim. But why not take the swing?
Oh man, that's beautiful. All right, so I'm on the clock with Calgary Flames. I feel like I have to go defense here. There's nobody that really jumps out at me more than another. So, although I do like the bigger guys here. So, let's see.
Partner Amico is interesting.
Yeah, he's he's one that you sold me on recently. Ooh, this guy, he was a faller. Otherwise, he'd have been my pick. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go Carter Amico. That's a good one. I like that. Know more about him than the rest for sure. And yeah, I think they just addressing needs. They get a pretty decent defenseman here. So
I'm going to follow up with another big defenseman, the guy we just talked about recently, Simon Wang. Nashville seems to develop defensemen pretty well. And
yes, they do.
At this point in the draft, you go with a high upside guy. I think they like that.
Tampa Bay, is this their first pick of the draft?
Maybe, yeah. Unless they get one for Isaac Howard.
True. Oh, man. And, and he's what position would you say Howard plays?
Left wing.
Oh, so I guess I should just go with Tomas Bolton here, huh? I don't want to go by this thing, though. No, I'm going to go with Nathan by him. I've seen him. Oh, I think I've seen him ranked higher. 6'2".
Depends what you're looking at. But, yeah, I think Nathan Bain is probably more often ranked higher, but they're in a similar range.
I'll be honest. I'm going to go with Nathan because I only said the other guys I saw him first at left wing, but I know a little bit, slightly, a little more about Nathan Bain here. So let's load up in case for when they do eventually trade the pick. Not the pick. The Hobie Baker Award winner is what I meant to say. So with that, you're on the clock with Seattle as we crawl to the finish here.
Seattle's drafted really well of late. I'm not sure this guy is going to go this high. He's this high on my board, but he doesn't seem to be on a lot of boards. Michael Sverchek, SVR. If you're probably going to have to search for it. I doubt he's ranked very high here.
This is so much better. Somebody pointed it out before. Me typing these names up, trying to get the spelling.
Yeah, it wasn't your strong suit.
Oh, God.
But yeah, Sverchek's one of my favorites in the draft, to be honest. He's a bit undersized. Sometimes you wonder what he'll be in the NHL, but he plays just at a breakneck speed and pace and two-way game, underrated playmaking. I'm going to like his value pretty much anywhere he goes.
Pretty much end of the second, not too shabby. All right, I'm on the clock with Vegas. I can't remember if Vegas had a pick or not yet. I think I see them going center, and I think I like. Oof, he is small though. Oof, I can't do it. I don't see them doing that. Like it's just.
I think he'll fall too. I think Mooney will probably fall as well. I think if he doesn't, it's something like San Jose.
You know what? No, it's not that kind of goalie draft. All right, I'm going to go defense here. I think this guy's fallen far enough, even though he's kind of tumbling in drafts. I'm going to go with Charlie Heatherway. He was start of draft season. He was just outside the first round, and now by tomorrow he might be just outside the second round. Well, that's roughly where we're at. I could be good value. You never have enough defensemen. Why not?
Pittsburgh here. I'm gonna go. Maybe it's not a Dubas pick who I was gonna pick. I want to take a center though. I think Let's go with Gustav Hillstrom. Another Swedish two-way, 200-foot player. I don't think the upside is incredibly high with him, but I think he plays pretty projectable. Should play in the NHL.
I like it. I remember you talking about him before. I'm back on the clock with the Devils. I think I had them go center. I don't think this is off board for the centers. You might have an issue with it based on the draft, but I'm going to have them take a goalie, and I'm going to have them take Alexei Medvedev from the London Knights.
All right.
They're a team I can see doing something like that.
Yeah, I could see
maybe not in the second, maybe not in the second round, but close enough.
Yeah. All right, with Boston, let's go with Matthew Gard. Imagine he's pretty close to the top of the rankings. Maybe not. Kind of a Jack Nesbitt light in his game. Maybe not even light. It'll be interesting to see who ends up being the better player there. But similar style, probably a 3-4C with some physicality and good reliance on the defense too.
Okay, now I'm at the point where I'm looking for names that I've heard before. And Genborg here is one of them. You're at the end of the second round.
I like him.
Just try to get somebody. He's
also probably more of a center than a winger.
Hey, you know what? Swiss Army knife. Use him however you like. You know who else is like that? Apparently Mies is the same way. Oh, they didn't get him in this draft. Never mind. But yeah, end of the second round. Why not? And you got the stupid Ducks again.
Who do we have the Ducks taking? I guess it might not even matter at this point.
I had them take Eklund. That I remember. After that, I'm not sure. I wonder if it's on here.
Well, with the Ducks, let's go with Philip Ekberg. He's a little undersized, which, maybe if they take Eklund, they may steer away from this. But at this point in the draft, I think you're getting decent upside in him. He had a great second half of the season and great U18s. So I don't mind it here.
All right. And with the final pick of this damn draft, and after this, it's real, folks. I'm going to have the Montreal. Oh, that's a slap in the face. The Toronto Maple Leafs select the biggest center I can find. And there's not one. Oh, wait a minute. No, I kind of like it.
You're trying to take the biggest center, you said?
I was thinking about it, but now I've read a little bit Zahada here. I'm going to have them go with the center, Ethan Zahada here. And, with that'll end it. Let's go down real quick. Oh, look at that. Schaefer, Misa, Frontel, Brady Martin, Porter Monson.
Let's hope we get two correct.
Yeah, right. Let's hope I'm wrong about the Flyers' earlier pick. Jake O'Brien, James Martin, James Higgins, Merck, Victor Hedlund. I mean, just look at these names. I'm not going to read them all. We'll be here all day. This is the final mock draft on the eve of the draft. What time is it? It is 10:15 at night. We are, double-digit hours away from the start of this thing. 7 o'clock start time, I believe. Man, we did 2 full rounds, folks, just to get all those Flyers picks in and write it out. You know what? I think the Flyers picks later with Riker Lee and Rabenkin and these Russians, I mean, not too shabby. Ben Kindell, even though he's a winger, man, the only thing I would change is who I had them take at 6, and I'm the one who made that pick. I'm just worried about them.
Hey, Kindell might play center.
That's true. Yeah, you can always fix some things there. But there you have it. That is our draft. Maybe we'll go down some questions real quick. Mr. Twitzer, thank you for the draft coverage, but I can't wait for the draft to be over. I feel the fatigue too. I do. Tomorrow is, and I do too. And I think we did a show almost every day this week. And tomorrow is the accumulation of it all. All that hard work, all that anticipation is even worse. All that comes to a head tomorrow at 7 o'clock. We will finally know what happens. Finally. Waking up tomorrow is going to be like Christmas morning. It is going to be fantastic.
Let's hope we get some action too. Whether it's, obviously, hopefully the Flyers, but
yeah,
exciting when it happens in the league too. It sounds like
it's
Dobson could move. who knows who else?
A lot of names have been floated. It should be fun, and teams really want to get their guy and whatnot, and they're ready to do it. Prokhorov, you've mentioned plenty of style. Has some Balkan style in him. That's interesting. Why do the Flyers want O'Brien over Hagens and Martone? Makes no sense. They're both way better. I agree with that. I think it's a skill set. Paul, you want to take a shot at that?
Yeah, well, I don't know that we know the Flyers do want O'Brien over Hagens and Martone.
Everything's a smokescreen.
It sounds lately. It sounds like they like Hagens and Martone the best. I do think they're in the mix for O'Brien though too. Personally, I like O'Brien more than Martone, so I can see it. I think he's more creative. I think the upside's good. I think they're both pretty high IQ players, but he's also a center. I think his skating is better than Martone's and more workable, but they're close. And then with Hagens, yeah, I guess it would be a size projectability kind of thing. But I would prefer Hagens for sure. But
give me that skill.
Yeah, who knows what the Flyers are thinking? I don't know what their board is.
You can never trust what you read, not with the Flyers. I like that.
No.
That's how it should be. I think it's a smokescreen. Hoping they come away with Hagens despite our draft rankings here.
If they do come away with O'Brien, though, I would try to ease Flyer fans' minds, and I don't think it would be a bad pick at all. I'd be pretty excited about it.
Depends on how the draft fell, but you're right.
Like I said, I would prefer Hagens, but even if Hagens is there, I'm not going to be mad. I would think maybe they missed out on a little bit of value, but I'm pretty excited about O'Brien going forward.
Yeah, maybe my stream might cut out if that, but we'll see. We'll play it by ear. Lyndon, thanks guys for all the work you've invested.
Put it this way: if O'Brien falls to Pittsburgh, I'm going to be pretty mad. He's good.
Fair.
He's good enough that I do not want him there.
I'm confident he shouldn't fall that far.
Yeah, I agree.
But you never know. So Lyndon 49, thanks guys for all the work invested in the draft. We like Paul said, we love it. Absolutely, we love it because it is Xmas in June. If you don't land a center at 6, does he move up from 22? I'd hope so. He moves up regardless, but especially if we don't get a center because we need to add more than just Trevor Zegras, and this is probably our best shot. So yeah, for sure.
Sounds like they're interested in it as well. I mean, who knows? Like you said, you can't trust anything around the Flyers and the media news. But it does. I mean, they obviously have the ammo to do it. I think they will land a center at 6, and maybe they go Martone, but I do think they'll land a center. And then makes me feel like if they trade up, it'll be for a defenseman. But I guess we'll see.
Absolutely. So, wow. With that, this is the final mock draft. Thank you, NHLEntryDraft.com. If you go to the tool section and mock rankings, you can do this. You can draft for everybody, draft for the Flyers or whoever you like. Thank you, FC Hockey. Made this so much better than me typing it, and I think it's much easier on the eyes. Made this go a lot faster.
Good tool.
It is. I say that about Jim all the time. Great tool. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people watching tonight really appreciate that. We're just excited for the draft and just excited as you guys are. Can't wait for it. With that, I guess I'll put us back on the screen here. Oh, there we are. There's me. There's Buzz. So, yeah, I mean, that's all I got. We had some great questions, some good interaction, but ultimately we got through 2 full rounds of the draft. These are probably going to be our best selections, best ideas going for tomorrow. Plenty of picks, expecting movement, expecting great things. Can't wait for it. And, yeah, watch the live stream. We'll be on. Jim will be on. I'll be joining. A couple of people will be joining. And we may have some guests.
I'll probably
jump on. We'll have some guests as well. It should be a blast. And we'll enjoy together. Perhaps we'll cry together. I'll be on. Jimmy's going to have the stream, and I'm probably going to join. It might look like this. I'll probably be at my house. I'll have some people here. Jimmy, I don't know who. He said guests. I don't think he means in his house. I think he'll have people jumping on and jumping off and whatnot. And, it's more of a watch and see kind of thing, but more people talking makes it go instead of just watching us watch the screen. But we're going to get some action early, and then we got a nice lull for a little bit, where the entire time we're thinking about trading up, and then we'll see what happens. Hopefully with that 31st perk, we don't get there and they trade back or something or trade to the next previous year. Although I wouldn't mind 2026 pick, but still that would be a little bit of a letdown. So we are right there. Everybody go to bed. Everybody go to bed. Enjoy this. Go to bed. Let's wake up. Let's get some draft going tomorrow.
Yeah. Josh and I will probably throw out our rankings tomorrow. I don't know if anybody cares, but if you do, we'll probably throw them out on Twitter at some point or X, whatever it is.
Yeah, grab them all, print them out, have them with you. Well, that's what I do. I have like 3 different rankings and just see how it goes. And it comes once a year. And after this year, I don't know how much we're going to be like super crazy about the draft because we might be in a different position. Hopefully we're in a different position. So unless, of course, we, are a lottery team for a bad reason, in which case, Gavin McKenna. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So, Paul, thanks for everything. Yeah, thanks for everything, everybody, for tuning in. A lot of views right now. I really appreciate that. Excited for the draft. Let's get it.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Keep it high. Keep it wide. Keep it traded.